If I say the great faith chapter, you're thinking Hebrews chapter 11, aren't you? If I say the resurrection chapter, you're going to say 1 Corinthians 15. That'd be good Bible drills, wouldn't it? What's the resurrection chapter? And everybody, 1 Corinthians 15, remember that. And the great love chapter then, 1 Corinthians 13, that's right. The more excellent way. We've been talking about the spiritual gifts. Well, here we are. 1 Corinthians 1, 12 through 14. It's about the spiritual gifts, the miraculous gifts imparted to members of the church at Corinth through the laying on of Paul's hands, and how they were misusing those gifts. And Paul's going to get to the heart of the problem here. So we've got the confirming power of those spiritual gifts in chapter 12, and how they're different gifts, but you're not in competition. They're all the same. We're all of one spirit and one body. And then what? Are you desiring the best gifts? Let me show you a more excellent way. That's how chapter 12 comes to a close. So I've called chapter 13 the more excellent way. And it's the way of love, the way of charity. Here's the divisions. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 3 divisions. You're nothing without charity. That's number 1. The virtues of charity, describing what charity is. That's number 2. And then the never failing charity. That's number 3. So you can kind of divide the chapter into those 3 sections. We're talking about the word agape. That is up there at the top in Greek characters. Now, I just think the Greek alphabet is just so beautiful. I remember someone telling me, if you want to learn to read Greek, then just spend a lot of time staring at the page and getting familiar with how the alphabet looks. And it's beautiful to do that. So that's how it would look, agape. That's the way we would pronounce that. But it's love. That's the way most modern translations are going to translate agape, love. The King James Version translates it charity. It's hard to find the right word. There's different kinds of love. This isn't a passionate love. That's a fleshly love, a passionate love. It's not that. It's not a romantic love. That's an emotional love. When you have an emotional attachment with someone. And you know, husbands and wives, we do things to enhance that emotional attachment we have, romantic love. But it's not that. There's friendship love, a fraternity. I mean, you just enjoy being with someone. It's not a romance. You're just good friends. And we know what that is, but that's not what this is. And then there's a family love. It's in that word, natural affection. Now, you know, you just love your family. And if they weren't in your family, you might not even care for them. But they're family, and you just love them. That's family. And so that's natural to love your family. That's not what agape is. They call it charity in the King James Version. What kind of love is this? Let me show you something from Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words. It's an old and standard reference. And this is under the entry of charity. You look it up like a dictionary, and as it describes what agape is, it says it's the characteristic word of Christianity. That's pretty significant, isn't it? The characteristic word of Christianity. He said, and since the Spirit of revelation has used it to express ideas previously unknown. Inquiry into its use, whether in Greek literature or in the Septuagint, throws but little light upon its distinctive meaning in the New Testament. Christian love, this is a little later on in that definition. Christian love, whether exercised toward the brethren or toward men generally. Now, a lot of the way to describe it is what it's not. Notice how this is what it's not. It is not an impulse from the feelings. Well, that'd be passionate love or romantic love, wouldn't it? It's not that. It does not always run with natural inclinations. Well, now that'd be familiar love, family love. It's not that. It says it does not spend itself only upon those for whom some affinity is discovered. Well, you're just friends. You got the same interest. You like the same things. You mesh well. It's not that. It's not that. There's a lot of ways to describe what it's not. So what are we talking about? Well, Vines goes on to say it's love that seeks the welfare of all. You don't have to have any romantic feeling toward them. They don't have to be in your family. Yeah, it's not a fraternity you have. It's not your friends. It's the welfare and benefit of all, even in the absence of those other things. It says, it works no ill toward any. And love seeks opportunity for good. That gets me back down to the Sunday school definition of agape love. Seeking the other's highest good. That's a good definition of that. It's the love we have for our enemies. Jesus says, love your enemies. It's not romantic. It's certainly not natural. But you want what's good. You want that enemy to come out good. I tell you, you want your enemy in heaven, don't you? You want to destroy that enemy by making a friend out of them if you could. And so it's the love a husband's to have for his wife, agape love. Now, husbands, they need to be romantic, and you need to be friends. But this is a mature love that transcends all of those things. It serves right down there as the groundwork for which other loves can be built upon that. But that's the foundation, agape love. And you're nothing without that. That's the first part of this chapter. Though I speak with the tongue. See, we're talking about spiritual gifts, the gift of tongues. Everybody wants to speak in tongues. Boy, isn't that cool? I can just rattle off all these different languages. If I had the gift of tongues and of angels and have not charity, you're just a lot of noise. I've become as a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal. That's kind of an irritating noise. Okay, so great. You can speak all these languages. And you know, everybody out there, they know all you're doing is drawing attention to yourself, and you don't care about us. And I just wish they'd be quiet. They're just making noise as far as I'm concerned. Here it is. Look at the spiritual gifts. The gift of prophecy, the gift of understanding, the gift of knowledge, the gift of faith, and this is the faith that would enable you to move mountains. And have not love, I'm nothing. So what? You can do all these great things? Well, big deal. There's no love there. There's no concern about the benefit of others. It's all self-focused. Is that what it is? Well, go move your mountains. What do I care? Though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, why would someone do that if they did not love? Well, maybe they just think, okay, that'll really make me famous, won't it? They'll remember me, thinking about themselves. Now, these are exaggerated examples, aren't they? But that's why it's here, to emphasize the point with exaggeration. So you're a good giver. You don't do it out of charity, it doesn't profit anything. That's not profiting anything. So without love, you're nothing. That makes us really want to understand what this is, doesn't it? What is agape? Can it be said, I am an agape person? Well, let's see. The virtues of charity. And this is where Paul waxes very poetic, maybe not in a structural sense, but it's just beautiful writing that he does here. It's the reason this chapter is so well known. It says, charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth. Is that you? Can you put your name there? Can you take the name charity out of the text and put your name there? What would that sound like? What if it's me? I'll use me. Bill suffers long and is kind. Is that right? I go on reading down there. Bill envies not. Bill vaunts not himself and is not puffed up. Is that me? I'm not asking you to critique me. You put your name there. Read that and ask yourself, is that me? Am I a loving person? Am I an agape person? Look at the different traits here. There are positive traits and there's negative traits. Here's the positive. Charity suffereth long. That means, listen, you're not quick to pull this. Charity, suffer. You got to put up with some stuff and put up with it for a long time. You know, there's some folks you just got to put up with, isn't it? And you still wish them well. Long suffering is the way you turn that around. Charity is something that's going to stay. It's not going to be quick. It's not, okay, let's see if you can do it. If not, I'm going to pull it. No, you're going to keep it there. It's kind. Kindness. One of the most beautiful words in the English language is the word loving kindness. Just being kind. We have this little summer camp, cousin camp every summer, and one of the rules of summer camp is be ye kind. We try to teach our grandkids. You got to be kind to one another and think about being kind. Now they do a pretty good job at that through the week of emphasizing the fact that you're going to be kind. That's hard for little brothers and sisters. A little easier to be kind to cousins sometimes, you know. But you got to be kind. Don't say things that cut people down and make people feel bad. Do things that are kind. Rejoiceth in the truth. Sometimes people rejoice in evil. They do things that are wrong and the world applauds and then others applaud right with them. And they're rejoicing in something that's evil. It's not right. Charity rejoices in what's right and rejoices in truth. Charity beareth all things and believeth all things. You know, there's some that are always looking, what's the angle here? And charity looks at people and says, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was, and think of something positive going on. That's a person of charity. Hopeth all things. I know they're that way, but listen, they can get better. They can outgrow this. I'll be kind to them And I think things will improve. And endureth all things. It kind of ties right back to number one, doesn't it? Long suffering and enduring all things. But then there's even more, describing what charity is not. Charity envieth not. You know, one of the things the New Testament tells us is in honor, preferring one another. Who gets the honor for this? Well, they give them the honor. You know, that just, did they recognize me for what I did and not really want that? Honors others. Don't envy others. It says, vaunteth not itself. Boy, that's what hit right home with those Corinthians. I'm speaking in tongues. Hey, listen to this. Well, that's not love. That's vaunting yourself. It says, is not puffed up. You've seen people puffed up, hadn't you? Just as though they're going to make themselves bigger. That's not a loving attitude. Does not behave itself unseemly. Hear about manners? You know why you practice manners and learn manners? Because you want others to feel comfortable around you. That's why you're doing it. And don't do things that are going to make people feel embarrassed or shocked or just uncomfortable to be around you. That's being unseemly. Charity doesn't do that. Seeketh not her own. That's looking out for number one. That's the exact opposite of what charity is. Not easily provoked. This is provoked to do something out of anger or out of wrath, but you can provoke you, but it's not going to be easy to provoke a loving person. Thinketh no evil. That kind of goes back to this idea of envieth not and thinketh no evil. Thinking of the good of others. Rejoiceth not in iniquity. That's set aside with rejoiceth in truth, doesn't it? Rejoiceth in truth, not in iniquity. And it never faileth. Now that's where we're going to get into the next part. But before we do, Biden said this was a new concept. Now it's true that this idea of agape, the way it's described in the New Testament, was not common outside of Christianity in that first century. And the word's not even used very much. Although it's got heavy use in the New Testament, outside the New Testament, it wasn't a real common word, but the idea was there. We go back to the Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verses 6 through 7. That beautiful book on love that begins with a love of passion. I mean, it's just, you're attracted to this other person, and it describes that by the way that they appear, the way they look. They just, I just love them because of how they look. But that's very shallow. It develops into a love of friendship. This is my friend and this is my brother. So there's a friendship there, but it ends with a love of commitment that faileth not. We got this beautiful passage. Set me as a seal upon thine heart. I want you to think of a wedding ring. See, this is the commitment. You got a wedding ring, but this is the seal on my heart and a seal upon the arm. Instead of on the ring, think about it. Seal on the arm. Set me as that seal. Love is strong as death, and jealousy cruel as the grave. How do you get out of the grave? The grave's going to hold you back, isn't it? Love is strong like that. It says, the coals thereof are coals of fire, which hath the most vehement flame. Many waters cannot quench love. Neither can the floods drown it. I want you to think about that vehement fire. You've built this fire, and the floods come. The rains come. All night long it's raining, raining, raining. You go out the next morning to check on that fire and the coals are still warm down under the ashes. It didn't put it out. See, it endured all things. And you can't buy this love for money. Remember that Linda Ronstadt song, You Can't Buy My Love with Money, because I never was that kind. Silver threads and golden needles cannot win this heart of mine. Here it is. If a man would give all the substance of his house for love, trying to buy that love, you can't buy that love with money. It'd be utterly contemned. I don't want it. I don't want it. You can't buy my love. That's the kind of love agape love is. When it comes to a husband and wife, that's the commitment that you make. For better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. Let me add this: in season and out of season. Love when it's joyful and love when it's tough. Agape love, a commitment. And it's never failing charity. And that puts this in context. See, charity never faileth. What about the spiritual gift? Prophecy? They're going to fail. You're not going to be able to prophesy forever. What about the gift of tongues? They shall cease. This is a temporary gift, not a permanent gift to the church. What about this gift of knowledge? You're going to know things. You don't learn it natural ways. The Holy Spirit's going to give you this knowledge. It'll vanish away, that gift. That's fading. That's not lasting. Charity never faileth. These spiritual gifts, you Corinthians, keep desiring and thriving about, and that's all. They're all passing. It says we know in part. What's the part? We're talking about in the context of these gifts. We know in part. We prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect. Our word perfect, we sometimes use that to describe something that is flawless. That's not the meaning here. It's in contrast to in part. Put the word whole. I know it doesn't, part and perfect go together very well, but think about whole. That which is whole. That which is complete. And that which is perfect has come. That which is in part, prophecies, tongues, knowledge, done away, fail, cease, vanish, done away, but not charity. Charity never faileth. It's going to continue when all these other things are gone. Let me explain it like this. It's maturity. When I was a child, I spake as a child, understood as a child, I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Now in the childhood days of the church, this early church, it's childhood days. It's got these gifts. It'll grow to maturity until it's whole. And then you can put those miraculous gifts away. Here, now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Well, a glass. It's talking about a mirror. You ever looked in a dirty mirror? A mirror, maybe a mirror that's not polished yet. You're looking at it and you're there, but you don't see yourself very good. So you polish it. This mirror out of a piece of metal. Once it's polished up and you can look face to face at yourself. Now you see clearly because all the film is gone and it's a polished mirror. Okay, church, right now you're in the glass darkly stage. We're going to polish you up. You're going to grow to maturity. Now you're going to be able to see clearly, and you're not going to need these gifts. Now we know in part. There's the part. But then shall we know even as I am known. You're going to know it just like you know me. You'll have it whole and complete and ready. And then abideth. Now, abideth. Now, I want you to watch that word. Faith, hope, and love. Now, these other things, what are they? They perish. They vanish. They're done away. Something will abide. What abides? Faith, hope, and love abide. They're not being done away. These three, the greatest of these is charity. Here it is. Prophecies, tongues, and knowledge will fail, cease, and vanish. But the spiritual things that they bring to us are going to abide. Faith, hope, and charity will abide after prophecies, tongues, and knowledge are done away. But the greatest of these is charity. Why is that? Because charity never faileth. Here you've got them all the spiritual gifts and all the spiritual benefit these gifts are intended to bring. And as the gifts fade away, that spiritual benefit that they are for, faith, hope, and charity, they abide. They continue. So what makes love the greatest? Because it will never fail. You see, faith will vanish in sight. We walk by faith and not by sight, but there'll be the time that we see. And faith will vanish in sight. Hope, well, that will vanish when it's realized. But as it says in Romans, for what a man hath, why doth he yet hope for it? Hope will be realized. We'll have that for which we hope, and hope will fall away. But charity will never be satisfied. It's going to outlast all the spiritual gifts. It's going to outlast faith and hope. And it will never fail. So you want to be a person of charity. You want to be an agape person. You see, that spiritual quality, that spiritual treasure that you can become, they say you can't take it with you. That's material things. Spiritual things you can take with you. If you're a person of agape charity, you'll take it with you. It'll last beyond the grave into eternity. You'll carry that with you. It will never fail. So, that's what Christianity can do for us. Give us something that lasts forever when all other things pass away. Earth and all its treasures, the world with all its glory, everything is going to pass away and fail. It's the spiritual things that endure. And so we sing that song, Build Your Hope on Things Eternal. And charity is one of those things. You want to respond to the invitation and be a Christian and embody that characteristic word of Christianity, then come forward while we stand and sing the invitations.